welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beans Talk.
Yo! We are here. The energy is tremendous in the gym. So pumped to be here, Beans. Great to be with you once again.
Yeah, hey, we're doing it.
We're doing it. We really are doing it.
Doing it.
Just as though we are entering into the season where we give thanks and we feast exorbitantly on just copious amounts of food.
It's true.
We have a copious amount of phenomenal content to get through today. So I'm very excited. I'm very pumped. It's great to be here. It's great to get into it. We're going to do a little bird feasting, a little penguin talk today.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes, we got it all done.
The bird that cannot fly and yet makes a big impact on all of us.
Yes, and you're all going to be surprised by it because we did not say we were going to watch it.
It's true. It's true.
We gave
welcome.
No context when we were going to watch that thing.
No prior warning. So we've got great conversation around the penguin ahead of us. We've got trailer after trailer after trailer to get into, which is very exciting.
Yes.
So I say we just dive right the heck in. I mean, we'll probably do another classic, JP and the Beans Top 5, don't you think?
Always.
It's just the gift that keeps on giving, and we are in the season of gifts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk the penguin. Now, at the outset, we'll give you a good 2 minutes or so of our thoughts that will remain spoiler-free, but then be warned, we're getting into heavy-duty spoiler territory for the remainder of the conversation. So let's start really broad, really safe for the people. Beans, give us your non-spoiler take on the penguin.
It was fantastic. Fantastic, very gritty, very gangster, very gangster. I didn't know I was going to get, I kind of knew you were going to get it, but not to the level that we were going to get it.
Leaned into it, didn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
and it's such, if you like the penguin as a villain in general, this is your show.
Right.
This is, to me, turned a B-level Batman villain and turned him into an A. 100%.
Yep.
I said this in a very short video today. Colin Farrell might go down as, I don't know if they can do a different penguin after him.
No.
It might have ruined everything else. And this is coming
Correct.
after Danny DeVito.
Right.
Who you look at and oh, that guy looks like the penguin. And he's kind of gross too in the movie.
Yeah.
But to come from that and then do this, and you're like, oh. So I will say this, and then I will give it off to you. Matt Reeves, that man, props to you.
Yep.
Honest to God, James, just make him in charge. Bring it into the DCU.
Yep.
That's what I want.
Right.
That's the Batman that I want, 100%. And with this Rogues Gallery and with Matt Reeves with a full understanding of Batman and the Rogues Gallery,
yes,
I can't wait to see what he does next.
Yeah. Very well put. I second and endorse everything that you just said. It is exceptionally well made, and perhaps the most important thing that this show will accomplish just on a large scale is it validates that these shows with not A-list comic characters, and this is true for DC, this is true for Marvel, but it proves that they should be made, and that when they are made, they can and should be made exceptionally well. There is no reason for shows that are half-baked, that are microwaved. This sucker was fully cooked, fully developed. Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti crushed it.
She also deserves to be talked about.
Oh my goodness. Phenomenal.
I will watch her in
disappeared.
anything.
They were, it's obviously a case of excellent casting, but casting notwithstanding, casting only takes you so far. This is not the case of, this is always who Colin Farrell was supposed to be. I mean, he disappears. I still don't believe that it's Colin Farrell in there.
Nor should you.
But it is. His performance is so, he just drowns in the character. He's gone. The Penguin is all that is left. And Kristen Milioti, I have never seen a an actor or actress be that simultaneously terrifying and tender. That is a combination that I didn't think was possible. That's not just, wow, she's really well cast. You couldn't imagine anybody. She deserves all the flowers for what she pulled off.
It's true.
In this show. Unbelievable, unbelievable stuff. And what you said about Matt Reeves, again, seconded, endorsed, stamped to the highest order. Let that man play in the Batman world. Like, whatever else, okay, fine. But either bring this version into the DCU fully, which why you wouldn't, I don't know. If for some reason they cannot coexist with whatever James Gunn vision is, don't get in Matt Reeves' way. Let the guy play. Let him have his Batman universe and let him go. But don't interfere with it. Don't shortchange it, because this could be just the tip of the DC and Batman iceberg. And we have spoken multiple times about how unbelievably deep Batman's rogues gallery is. This was just one. And to your point, not a prominent one, especially if you look at the last 15 years at least of the comics. The Penguin has almost never been a formidable character. He's had a flash here and a flash there, but not any kind of sustained run as a villain of note. What this show did is remarkable, deserves to be applauded. So truly incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly incredible. So there you go. There's your spoiler-free take. From here on out, the gloves are off.
We're in the spoilers. Spoilers ahead.
We're in them. Okay.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's the spoiler song.
That's a great,
nailed it.
Great tune.
Okay.
Great tune. It was unbelievable. Let's just get into it. The pros. Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti, no matter what you say, are the start and end of everything that is great about this show. I almost lack for words to describe what they did. I truly, it doesn't look like Colin Farrell. It doesn't sound like Colin Farrell. No. It doesn't move like Colin Farrell. And yet it is Colin Farrell. I was watching an interview with Colin Farrell in regards to this show today, and he was talking about how the makeup that he had to wear was so fragile, right? Because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
They have added legit poundage to this man's face, and of course he's wearing a bodysuit to make himself more girthy than he is.
Right.
And he said that in between takes, they had to set up a tent with air conditioners inside of it for him to go in to preserve the makeup. Because he said if he stayed out in just, normal, call it 70-degree temps, he said the makeup would just get compromised over time and start to deteriorate. Can you imagine? And yet he still pulls off a phenomenal performance like that. To me, sounds extremely distracting, just as far as hey, how did this sausage get made? And yet here he is crushing it in spite of that adversity, if you want to call it that, or that challenge. Truly amazing. And not at any point was there a falter in how his character moved, right? It's always the waddle, which is such a great touch. Such a great touch. Always the waddle. Always, I don't even know what else to call it other than a penguin, like his penguin voice, just a gangster voice. And I don't know if I've ever seen practical effects, practical makeup be that real, just be that immersive, where it just looks like its own person. There is nothing of Colin Farrell in there. It's incredible. I mean, maybe the closest thing, and this is going to be both a good and not sufficient comparison, is the original Lord of the Rings movies where they had these dudes fit out as orcs. Those guys looked amazing and incredible. But here's the thing. They were legitimate monsters. It's right. Okay, so sure, you put the mask on and you're different. There's another level to this depth of prosthetic excellence. It was just incredible. But Colin Farrell's right there in the middle of all of it. I couldn't believe what he did. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it was incredible.
I did not expect the Penguin to end up this freaking evil, okay? This was the Penguin show, and usually when the title character it isn't just like an objectively terrible, awful, rotten to the very core, no good person. But he totally was. And he got worse as the show went on. I ended the show going, oh my gosh, this is the most evil Batman villain I've ever seen on the screen.
Yeah, what they did really well with him in this specific, and I feel like this is one of the most iconic parts of the Penguin. This dude is petty.
Oh my.
He is petty.
Yes.
And there is a one-shot New 52 Penguin comic. Mm-hmm. It's just a one-shot, just one small one, goes over kind of giving you the basic of what this character's like.
Right.
And so this, essentially the senator, comes in and he's going after the Iceberg Lounge or whatever because he knows it's an underground
knows
crime
it's a front
pit.
For all kinds of not
correct.
Good things.
So Oswald also grew up with this guy too. So they both had this conversation hey, I respect you enough. If you stop this, I won't.
We'll let bygones be bygones.
Yes.
Yep.
And I won't come
just
after
stop
you
what
anymore.
you're doing and there
Correct.
won't be any other consequences.
This dude, okay, drugs the politician. Politician wakes up in a hotel room. He was injected with a mixture of Bane's venom.
Oh boy.
And Scarecrow's fear toxin. And so he's out of his mind. And he ends up killing a girl. So he frames him for not only having an affair, but also killing the affair. Mm-hmm. And then pretty much the Penguin comes out and he's like, yeah, so you continue down what you're going to do. This all is released to the public. And essentially he gets the senator to this point where he comes
nervous
out.
Laughter, by the way. I'm not enjoying that. That's just nervous laughter.
He comes out and makes this public statement. And he's like, yep, we're done.
Yep.
And then he shoots himself in the press conference and dies. And the Penguin's just sitting there watching the press conference. He's like, good. No remorse whatsoever. So not only is he petty,
right?
It also nails the fact, he's going to do whatever he wants to get his way.
Yep.
And he's going to play both sides of the field.
Yep.
I think one of the most amazing parts is just watching him weasel his way out because you want him to lose.
Correct.
You want Sophia to put a bullet in between in his eyes.
Anybody, right?
And he somehow gets out of it every time.
Incredible.
And it's crazy.
Yep.
So it's even crazier to see how it started when he was 8, 9. And oh man. No, just such a well done. They nailed the petty.
Yep.
The part that I was surprised about and how well it worked is how delusional he actually is.
Yeah.
This dude is off his rocker.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, somehow he's fully sane, but delusional is the perfect word for it because the lies that he is telling to everybody else in his world, part of the reason why they're so effective is that he believes them. And yet he knows it's not true. And yet there's a part of his mind where you can tell he's convinced himself, no, this is the truth. Whenever it's just not, the truth is actually not convenient for him, he goes, okay, what would I rather it would be? Oh, this. And then he tells others, no, this is actually what the truth is. What you thought, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. You're sadly mistaken. Can't believe you fell for that. Wow, that's really embarrassing for you. Here's what the truth really is. And it's entirely different than what he just told another character 10 minutes of screen time earlier.
Yeah.
It's wild.
The best part of that, capturing the delusion, was when it's him and his mom.
Yeah. Right.
And she's about to lose her finger. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Sophia just kind of looks at him and she's like, you were going to let us cut off her finger, weren't you?
Right.
He's like, do you not understand what's going on?
You're entirely out leveraged. We all know that you're lying. You also know that you're lying. And yet you just won't admit it. Like,
even
there's
the
not
one,
even a thread of doubt. It's like you just won't actually say out loud what the truth is.
and even the one who's you don't want to know knows.
Right.
She knew from the get-go.
Right.
Which
she's the one that. Yeah, that's
we'll
its
get
own.
into that
What-
later,
oh.
but
I told you this before we started recording. This was the most similar experience that I have had to watching Breaking Bad ever. Because the character progression of Walter White, the protagonist in Breaking Bad, is so similar in the sense of, like you just stated, you want him to lose. You want him to die. Walter White, what's different, so this is not a perfect one-to-one comparison, but in Breaking Bad, he starts out as this like noble-minded, well-intentioned individual, and then just becomes further and further twisted to the point where he's the bad guy in the show, and you're hoping that the other characters are going to take him down. But he maintains some element of, I'm just going to call it righteousness, where there's a redeemable part of him that's still in there. With Oswald, you want him to lose pretty thoroughly by episode 4. Like, if there was any part of you that was like, okay, I think I'd like to see the Penguin be victorious here, by episode 4, you're like, nope, needs to lose. Can somebody take him out, please? Somebody? And he is just so thoroughly, there is no redeemable element of this character.
No.
He is the worst. Whatever you're imagining as bad guy, Oswald Cobb, please tell me he changes his name to Cobblepot, because I can't do the Cobb thing.
It would be very fitting with how they ended it for him to change it because of like
regal
public publicity,
the appearance, the aesthetic appeal. He is thoroughly, his mom says he's got the devil in him. Sure, he's the embodiment of Satan. I can get on board with that. Like, he's that freaking bad. It's, oh my gosh, it's so wild. And yet, the way in which the show manages to slowly, deliberately, and steadily unwrap how thoroughly evil this guy is, it kind of tricks you. It makes you think that, oh, the character is progressing. But it's actually not character progression. It's character revelation, where you as the audience are just learning a little bit more at a time about how awful, how evil this character is. He's always been this. You're just figuring out how bad it's always been over time. It's horrifying. He's horrifying.
I cannot wait for Batman 2.
Oh my goodness.
Which comes out in 2026. They did reveal that date.
Did they not just create a phenomenal Batman villain?
Well, yeah, and it's also on top of that, too, because I still don't think he's going to be the main villain in the second one.
Yep.
I think now where they set him up, he's going to be in politics, which is terrifying to have that guy in politics. It's like, yeah, you just need to clean your slate and everything, and it's like,
gosh.
Oh. So to have him and Bruce Wayne go up against each other,
right?
That's almost more interesting to me than Penguin and Batman.
Great point. Great point.
So, oh, jeez. I can't wait.
Yeah. The other element that was so apparent to me watching the show is there was no let up in the tension from start to finish. I mean, this was 8 hours of, like, gripping your chair going, holy turd burglars, this is intense. There were so few opportunities to take a breath and go, okay, a little lighter fare here. It's like not in the least. I mean, when he blew Alberto Falcone away within the first 10 minutes,
I laughed so hard.
Right? And he did too. That was such a great start to the, like, what a tone setter for the show. He blows Alberto Falcone away, laughs, and then goes, oh, F. Because you realize it's like, this strategically wasn't the right time and place for this move. This was emotional. This was irrational, hasty, but it's also part of who he is.
So funny.
As a character.
I did. I laughed because it was just like, I was waiting for it. I was like, oh, he's good. When is he going to do it? I was like, when's he going to do it? And then he started going in on him being a terrible, like,
Yep.
oh, man, you suck. You're
Right.
just a lowly henchman kind of guy. He's like,
Right.
just rips him.
Oh, man. No chance. No chance whatsoever.
That was crazy.
I absolutely loved the gangster element of this show.
Oh, so well done.
I loved how the show gave the right amount of screen time to the Falcons. Like, they weren't allowed to be, Sophia notwithstanding, the rest of the family was present long enough. If they had lasted until the 8th or 7th episode, that would have been too long.
I agree.
So the fact that by, I think it was episode 4,
Yes.
they were history. It's like, okay, great.
4 or 5.
It was 4, yep. That allowed a corner to be turned in the story and the focus to just be drawn entirely on Oz and Sophia. And also with the Maronis, that was played really well for effect also, where you have this secondary crime family, still very powerful, still very influential, with an axe to grind against the Falcons, and so there's mixed motives there. I mean, the way in which all of these characters, whether it's Sophia, Oz, or the Maronis, or the Falcons to a lesser extent, more so Salvador Maroni and his family, were all simultaneously aligning with each other and yet trying to get the upper hand on one another, trying to out-leverage the other party. Part of the brilliance of the show is that for a very fleeting moment, Sophia and Oz have done it. Like, they have collaborated. They have done so successfully. They're about to create their own enterprise, their own empire, separate from the Falcone family, separate from the Maronis, and then it all falls apart so quickly. But just for that brief moment, you get to see what it would have looked like, what it could have been with Sophia and Oz, but then the initiative gets taken away. The truth comes out to Sophia that, oh, I'm sorry, Oz killed Alberto and has been lying to you this whole time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then from there, it's gloves are off. We're just getting after it. Just wild stuff.
Yeah, I thought for sure they would work together longer.
Same.
And really build up that relationship, but
Yep.
they really did not care. And it worked. It worked for this for once.
Yep. I was surprised that they gave Sophia almost an entire episode on her own to show her origin.
Oh, I loved it.
But it was tremendous.
Oh yeah, it was the way they depicted Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. It was perfect.
Oh.
That is exactly everything that I would imagine Arkham to be. And you kind of got a glimpse with it with the Riddler.
Yep.
But like to that,
just a glimpse,
right?
Yeah.
To the extent that it was shown here, like her interaction with other inmates, and then you essentially just watch her dad from the outside
Yep.
using corrupt psychiatrists from the inside
Yep.
to just turn her crazy to
Yep.
validate
Yep.
that she is in fact the Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that was the one part I didn't remember from the Batman movie is that Carmine killed the ladies.
Yep.
Because I think they did say something along the lines of he killed at least one.
Yeah, so
Catwoman's mom.
Yeah.
probably.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's not something I picked up on, but or I forgot about.
Sure.
But yeah, the whole, her first kill, insane.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your kills out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
Her killing Magpie was
Mm-hmm.
off the wall. Like I'm like, oh, there she goes. She's gone.
Yep. And we are never coming back.
So yes, all that, and then her psychiatrist originally was supposed to be Scarecrow.
Sure.
That was supposed to
Okay.
be written as Scarecrow, and then
Okay.
they changed it for whatever reason. But
Mhm.
that was originally supposed to be Jonathan Crane.
Got it.
Which would've
And
been
they
really
changed it to Julian
interesting.
Rush. Okay.
Yes. But yeah, no, Arkham. It makes me, because they talked about doing an Arkham show.
Yep.
Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger, because that would be so fascinating. Just
Yeah. It was horrifying, and I mean that as a compliment. I also mean that in the sense of whenever I rewatch this show again, I'm probably not rewatching that episode because it scared the heck out of me. I also really admired in that particular episode how you could believe that Sophia, okay, a member of this crime family, but there was I'm going to say there was a purity in her of where her dad wanted her to take over the family business. She would have run it, it seemed, from what we got to see of her character, it seemed as though she would have run it free of, to borrow your word, free of pettiness. How she was just a little more pure than the rest of them, right? She's not out trying to backstab her cousins or do anything dubious to her brother. Quite the contrary, the whole reason that she was pursuing the reporter in regards to her story about the strangled women was her intent was to protect her dad, even though he wasn't worth protecting.
Right.
And so then he dumps her into the gutter, quite literally. And that was also a really nice touch where they had Officer Mackenzie, same actor, playing the same role from the Batman movie. So Mackenzie was working in the Iceberg Lounge, and he was the one that Catwoman tracked down with the phone recording of Carmine strangling Catwoman's friend in the Batman movie. So when I saw that character and that actor show up, I thought, that's really well done. Kudos. Great job at pulling him in. And then as well, Chief, gosh, I'm going to blank on his name. What the dickens? Let me check my notes because I wrote it down.
All I know is I'm
Chief
watching The
Bach.
Batman this week.
Yeah, right. Chief Bach, who arrived at the Falcone Mansion after Sophia had gassed everybody and is, call it interviewing her, I guess, talking to her for a minute. Again, same actor, same role from the Batman movie. I thought that's some pretty high cotton when you're able to pull the same folks in for really small appearances. Would have been so normal to not have that, but that just spoke so well to the level of interconnectivity that they were desiring and the level of detail. I was greatly impressed.
Agreed.
Impressed. But again, just the character of Sophia, it's like it was so tragic. Oz, not tragic, just a terrible person. Sophia, tragic in the sense of there was something worth redeeming there. There was something worth preserving, and that element of her just got twisted and bent and broken by her own family. Yeah, it just epitomizes the word tragedy.
Yeah, no, oh man. I was so nervous they were going to kill her off.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh man, they're going to kill her. It's over.
Yep.
And then
I had a few moments where I thought that was going to happen as well.
Oz pulling the rug underneath us because he's pulling for the political play, which is insane. Gets arrested. I was like, she's around. This is awesome. Yes. So who knows what they do with her in future movies and stuff, but I was over the moon for that.
Same.
That's great.
Same.
So
yep. Yeah. Okay. Cons. There aren't many at all. For me, the biggest distraction or bummer of this show was Mark Strong playing Carmine Falcone. And nothing against Mark Strong. He did exactly as well as he could have, and he's a phenomenal actor in his own right. The reason it was distracting for me is that John Turturro, he's so similar to Jim Carrey in that if Jim Carrey has played a role and you cast someone else to play that role, Jim Carrey's just this singular presence, singular personality where it's like anybody else that plays that same role, it's like, this just doesn't feel right. And that's what it felt like to me. John Turturro was so unique as Carmine Falcone in the Batman movie that I understand why they did it, but for all the flowers that I'm giving them for
they did it for a younger actor. Is that the thought process?
I guess, but none of the other actors and actresses have been swapped out for other actors and actresses that are younger versions of themselves, right? It's just makeup. It's like, well, we're going to take away some of these wrinkle lines. We're going to make you look a little softer in the face so that it appears you're 10 years younger, even though we all know it's not really the case. So that for me was a bummer. Bummer with a lowercase b, not the end of the world, not a again, Mark Strong did a great job
They
in
also-
the role. It just didn't fit for me.
They also did it's interesting when you bring it up. Like, they did a good job at, like, kind of hiding his face, though.
Uh-huh.
Because it was never, like, fully shown, like, oh, this is Carmine.
Yep.
You obviously was.
Yep.
But, like,
He's wearing the
he's got the-
shaded glasses.
correct. But I
Yep.
feel like there's always, like, some form outside of maybe, like, even then, though, the dinner scene.
Yep.
I feel like his face was shaded
Always
the
shadowed.
entire time. So, you know.
They did what they could to minimize the distraction. So that little beef. My guy Vic got done dirty.
Yeah,
That sucked.
it was, look,
It fit, but it sucked.
it was a bummer because their relationship was honestly one of the best parts of the show.
Yes.
Although I hated that Vic went down that route.
Yes.
You're like,
right.
these two are actually hilarious together.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, Penguin actually might give a crap.
False.
Correct. But yeah, he did. It was necessary, though, because it sets him up to be like this guy that's like, it doesn't matter. It's just him now.
Yeah. And it fit. It was the correct move in terms of what the character of the Penguin should do in that situation. And part of why it was such a correct fit was he's telling Vic as he's strangling him, like, I can't have any connection, right? Any family. So it's as if he has made his peace with his mom. Like, he's going to just dump his mom as well. But then as soon as he gets done murdering Vic, you find out, no, he's actually got his mom stuck in a vegetative state up at the top of the penthouse. So he's lying to Vic while he's killing him. It's like, of course you're lying.
Also fits.
Yes,
because
yes, it does.
They have that
Yes,
conversation.
It does. Exactly right.
He has that conversation with his mom. His mom's like, let me die. If I am no longer able to function, kill me, or let them kill me. Let me die.
You know that is a spite move. That is a petty move, keeping her alive up there.
Yeah.
After she stabbed him.
Her just looking over and crying.
Yes.
Like, oh, so she is consciously aware of what's happening.
Super scary.
What a terrible way to go.
Right.
But
and then the ultimate, like, skin crawling move was his heavy air quotes girlfriend for hire, dressed up as his mom, pretending to be his mom, like role playing as his mom as they dance us right out of the show.
Well, that's where the delusion really kicks in.
Holy hell. That was gross.
Yeah, it was like, oh, no.
Shivers.
It was, you're like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh. So sorry, Vic, you deserved better. Yeah, that sucked. Any other pros or cons you want to hit on the Penguin, my guy?
This isn't necessarily a pro or a con.
Sure.
How do you feel about the Batman not showing up at all? Because to me, there's one scene where I think could have benefited the Batman. Well, let me say 2 scenes that I think could have benefited Batman being present. But at the same time, I don't feel like he was necessary.
Yeah. I was totally at peace with it. At no point, I was so fully engrossed in the Penguin and Sophia. It's the Penguin show, right? I didn't want the Batman to show up because as soon as the Batman shows up, now it's a Batman show.
Fair.
And now I say that as someone who loves the Batman and is very eager to see more of this version of the Batman, but in the context of this show, I got it. Now, maybe there is a way to sprinkle him in real quick and it's not actually distracting, but I'm curious to hear what your where you would have inserted him.
I am completely okay with him not being here.
Yep.
I will be curious to see what he had going on during the Penguin, because I feel like it's very off-brand for Batman to not be involved in a gang war.
Sure.
Like, I feel like this is where Batman gets involved.
Of the primary gang families. Like,
correct.
All of the gangs, not just the Falcones and the Maronis, but the Triad. That's the last one I'm going to be able to pull out of my keister. But literally all of the major gang players in Gotham are involved at some point or another in this show.
Because I feel like where that could have been valuable is him underlooking the Penguin the entire time as well.
Sure.
And just have the Penguin just get pissed off that he's not acknowledging him.
Right.
So
right.
I feel like I'm curious to see where Batman was during this time. Like, what's the explanation? Because again, I can't imagine in a world with Batman, he's just letting all of the gangs just run wild.
Yeah, that's a great point. Some explanation is going to have to be given because Gotham is presented as functional after the flooding, right? So it's not like you can explain it away without showing us, he's helping with the relief efforts. It's like the relief efforts are
done.
Like they're wrapping up, right? The areas of need are the most impoverished sections of the city where the second half of this season spends the bulk of its time in Crown Point.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. Some explanation has to be given. I don't know where I would have necessarily inserted him other than a passing, I don't know, a passing moment. Maybe, I don't know.
I have two possible ones.
Okay.
You could have done it right at the end and just have him be like, know similar or have an idea of what he did.
Yep.
And just to show up and knock on the window.
Nah.
Like, or even like they did a great job of showing the spotlight
signal.
up.
Yep.
But it would have been like really cool too to just see him on a ledge even from across. Yep. Just to be like, I have an eye on this guy. Yep. The other one where I'm glad they didn't do it on the long run because it benefited Penguin more as a villain. It would have been interesting to see him show up to save Vic. Mm-hmm, but again, it would have been...
Correct.
It would have been weird.
Correct.
So, because I think Vic was still a redeemable character.
Oh my gosh. There's no doubt.
And Batman stepping in to give him that opportunity, I think would have been good for Vic, but not good for the Penguin. So I understand why I understand why they went the route that they did.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was the one thing that I was thinking about through the show is like, do I want Batman in this? It worked perfectly without him, 100%. Right. I think the bat signal getting lit up at the end is perfect because that means Batman's still operating, he's still around. I'm just curious to see those next steps, and he's got a lot of explaining to do to just let all these gangs kind of eat themselves alive, essentially.
Correct.
So
I think what's incredible is the show ends and we've got the Penguin as just the nastiest, most dubious villain Batman could hope for. Just truly didn't expect that or see that coming. So that was pretty wild. So anyway, good dialogue on the Penguin. Anything else you want to hit on before we proceed?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we're good.
Well, before we transition into trailer recap mode, the comic recommendation of today's pod is Dark Victory. Now, it partners up quite nicely, does Dark Victory, with The Long Halloween, the first in this two-part tale. The reason I bring Dark Victory into the fold in today's pod is because of the aforementioned flowers needing to be tossed the way of Kristen Milioti and Sophia Falcone. She plays a not small role in both parts of this tale, and let's just say it's where the Hangman moniker got its start. So phenomenal story, and again, one of the great things about it is you can pick this comic up having not read anything that comes before or after and be just fine, my friend. It's a fantastic Batman tale. Great tragedy in terms of how Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face. That's part of the story. Dick Grayson becoming Robin. I mean, I've mentioned this comic many times over the podcasting years, but it seemed appropriate to bring it back as the official comic recommendation of this pod, thanks to our friend. Do we call him the Penguin? Nah, Sophia Falcone. You're the real boss. So there you go. Dark Victory. There's your comic recommendation.
By the way, the Hangman as a moniker, that's terrifying.
Yes. Genuinely so. All right, let's get into trailer recap mode.
We have, what, 4?
Oh, my
3 or
gosh.
4?
We've got Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Captain America Brave New World.
Yes.
Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning.
That's just for you.
Yeah, that's just for me. Thank you. Creature Commandos.
So 3.
Dropped a trailer. And Fantastic Four First Steps is teasing us with no footage, but a official synopsis drops, which is worth spending just a couple minutes on.
It sounds like it.
We will. Let's dive right in, starting with Thunderbolts asterisk. So I just hear I'm Ron Burgundy every time I see that asterisk show up. Like, Thunderbolts? Question mark?
Absolutely.
That's not how asterisks are pronounced, but no one really knows how to read an asterisk out loud. So there you go. This was a over 3-minute trailer. What a delight, from the D23 event in Brazil. Okay, so I guess that's a thing. Time to take a road trip to Brazil. But a lot of phenomenal footage. Obviously, a lot of what we have seen, some of it just stretched out and extended. Let's hit the highlights here. Hello, Bucky. You look great.
Yeah, he's going to be awesome. He will be the highlight.
Right?
Yes.
Does he not look delightful? Just Bucky unleashed? Come on.
I will always take more Bucky.
Yes.
He's, talk about a character that's really gotten a good turnaround and just...
Truly.
And it's all thanks to MCU, because
Yes.
that is not comic book related. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
No, the MCU has done a great job of taking it further.
I feel like his redemptive arc hits harder in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't really read him as Captain America, so that might be biased of a statement.
I will say it's one of those scenarios where it's a both and. Having read the comic is tremendous. Gives him a great redemptive arc. But I'm not going to disagree with anybody that says, hey, I prefer what the MCU has done, find it more impactful. It's terrific. I think the MCU has given him vastly more focus and time, both in the movies and in his first show, than we ever could have hoped for. So it's been a clear win. Big W right there. Mm-hmm. So we get to see Bucky flex. We get a ton of Red Guardian dialogue, which is a delight. Here's the real question coming out of this trailer, because you know what, there is one character we see very little of, just not much, and that is, of course, our dear sweet friend Taskmaster. I'm calling it right now. Taskmaster is going to have less than 2 minutes of screen time in this movie before they are made dead.
Hey, we can only hope and pray that is the case.
Yep. I remember watching the first Suicide Squad movie, and I cannot remember the name of the character, but they featured, not in a small way, in the trailers. This actor went on all the press tours, and truly, within the seconds, within the very first, actually only mission that the Suicide Squad did, this character had their head blown off. And that's very much where it feels like we're headed with Taskmaster.
Oh, yeah, the Suicide Squad, that one was crazy.
That one was
literally
absurd.
Most of them died.
Yeah. But I came away from this trailer impressed and encouraged. It seems to me like they've got a story worth telling. They've got characters that I want to spend time with.
Right.
So I suppose the story could fall apart and be an absolute shambles, but I am very excited to see more of dear sweet Bob and see him unleash his sentry. I love that they're holding that back.
As they should.
I
don't think that needs to be revealed until Act 3.
Nope. But give me more of this. Not a second of what we have seen in all the Thunderbolts promotional material, this trailer being the most prominent and recent example. Am I going, no, give me more.
I will also say, this might be the perfect time to introduce the Sentry, considering we are getting a new Superman next year. To have Crazy Superman present and alive in the MCU, I think that's going to be good for Marvel to have that running around. So,
yes, I think this is going to be a very effective. Marvel and DC have all these parallels, right?
Yep.
This is Marvel's Suicide Squad. That's what this is. And I think it has every opportunity to succeed, just like James Gunn Suicide Squad movie succeeded. It's going to make me, the one thing it's got going against it is it's going to make me wish so badly that we're having a freaking Avengers movie or have had a freaking Avengers movie at this point.
Yep.
But hey, if we can't, great, give me a good Thunderbolts movie. So that's going to be a delight. Ghost looks terrific, by the way. What an unexpected endorsement that I'm giving to Ghost. Give me more of Ghost.
I'm oddly more excited about John Walker.
Oh, yes.
I think U.S. Agent's going to be a stud here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see his redemptive arc too. So
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hoping Bucky's the guy that can help guide him down
Right.
that path,
Right.
which would be refreshing for Bucky.
Right.
So
This is the perfect spot to have that character of John Walker now, where, hey, we're past you're Captain America. It's like, okay, you're not.
I was Captain America for 5 minutes.
He's still not laughing about it.
No.
Yeah, it's great. Anything else from the Thunderbolts trailer, my guy?
No, I'm excited to see more. I hope the next trailers don't reveal too much.
Yep.
I kind of
Yep.
like that the villain is in the dark.
Correct.
I kind of want it to stay that way. I
Correct.
don't want to know who it is until going into that movie.
Yeah. And may I also say, I don't want it to be Bob's alter ego, the Void. I don't want that to be the villain. Like, give me...
It might be too soon.
Yes, it is. You got to give us something else. It can't just be, oh, Bob's bad. Because you know what else did that? The first Suicide Squad movie. One of their members, oh, they've got a dark alter ego. Whoops.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a good play then either. It won't be a good play now. So just don't do it.
It for sure would be more interesting if he's like, yeah, I can't bring out the big guns.
Sure.
And then he has to towards the end.
Sure.
And
Correct.
then that's where he kind of goes crazy and is
Correct.
somehow able to control it. So
Yep.
reverse Hulk.
Yeah.
There you go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then to like, oh, here's what could happen if
Yep.
he lets him out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Totally agree. All right, Captain America, Brave New World also dropped another trailer. Mr. Beans, what did you think?
Good. I don't think this did anything more for me. I'm ready to go. That's pretty much where I'm at. I am hoping to God my boy Seth Rollins is in this movie. Although again, I've heard he was cut, which is a mistake. So I want, they've shown Giancarlo Esposito.
Yep.
They've shown the Red Hulk. I really want a different villain. And I think it's going to be the leader.
Correct. No, that's the voice that we're hearing for most of the dialogue where we're not seeing an actor actually speak the words. That is the leader. So we're going to get that's my most hopeful element of this trailer is they are, just as we complimented those that put these trailers together at being so well restrained at not showing us too much. Listen, this trailer has shown plenty as far as we know the Red Hulk is involved. We know that Sam Wilson has a phenomenal suit. We know that that his guy, is it Danny Ramirez? Am I remembering that right?
Something like that.
Yep. Sorry, Danny Ramirez is the actor. Yep. Joaquin Torres is the character name in the movie. But we know that he's going to be the new Falcon. Okay, these are all positive things. I like that something is being held back.
Yep.
Right. So that gives me certainly gives me some optimism. I don't know, and maybe they just can't without spoiling the story. Maybe they just can't reveal much of anything as it pertains to what the story is actually going to be about. It's been so broad.
I'm okay with that.
So vague. Totally agree. Totally agree. Don't spoil it. Don't screw it up. Like, that's perfectly fine. But there's not enough. This is an odd combination to have Red Hulk and any version of Captain America together. It feels a little too similar to Batman v Superman. It's like, this is not a real contest. Superman wins. I mean, it's the College Humor video. So that element of it is going to have to be navigated, because if it's truly you're trying to pit Red Hulk against Captain America, this isn't a real contest. So I hope they navigate that well, because they've put themselves in a potentially really tricky spot.
And that's probably where the leader comes into play.
Yep.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Red
Do
Hulk is being mind controlled to fight Falcon.
Sure.
Just like I'm sure our boy Isaiah Bradley is being mind controlled in some sense. So I'm assuming that's all the leader. But I will be interested to see, because I still feel like there needs to be a. Don't get me wrong, the leader's a good villain.
Sure.
He's not a strong villain in the sense of that dude is not going to get in a 1v1 fight with Cap and win. I don't care which version of Captain America
He's
it
going to
is.
have to rely heavily on the mind control.
No, he's a nerd, and he doesn't have muscles. Okay?
You got a big head.
Yes, and probably mind control powers. So, I mean, cool, but you know what I mean? Like,
I do, very much so. He's
and maybe that's why
on the actions of others to actually execute any plan that he may have.
Correct. And maybe that's where Esposito comes in, because maybe he hand-to-hands with Cap, but...
Right.
Anyways, that's where I'm at with it. I with the Thunderbolts, I don't really need another trailer for this either.
Yeah.
I think this is good.
Yeah.
Don't show me any more.
Right.
That I didn't get already from the McDonald's toys. So that's where I'm at with it. 100%.
Yeah. I like the vibes that they're trying to capture.
Yes.
Right.
That's a bonus.
The espionage.
Thunderbolts had that too.
Yep.
I feel like they're both going for the Winter Soldier vibes.
Yeah, these are relatives. These are certainly relatives.
And I love it.
Yeah. No question, right? If you're going to pull inspiration from a MCU film, pull it from Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier. Like that's great. Do it. So totally agree. Don't show us too much. Just color me a little worried about the whole Red Hulk, Captain America. So
Fair.
Hope it's a brief. Here's what I hope for: brief conflict as far as Red Hulk versus Captain America, and then they partner up.
Yep,
that's what it's got to be. It's got to be a partner up.
Yes, because I'm getting flashback to Hulk versus the Hulkbuster, which is cool, but at the same time, it's like, this isn't how I wanted this to go down.
Nope.
So, yeah, I'm with you,
100%. Very much so. Okay, mostly for me here, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. That might actually mean this is the last Mission Impossible movie, because Tom, bless you, you're so old. You're just so old, bud. You need to... can you fly in planes? Sure, but can you keep doing these ridiculous stunts?
No.
Not without actually dying. No, you can't. This has to be...
He almost wants it, though.
I think so.
He does these...
I think this is how he would like to go.
And don't get me wrong, what a beautiful way to go for Tom Cruise, but...
Yeah.
Brother.
No. I don't have... We're not going to spend a ton of time on this other than I'm excited because I love the Mission Impossible movies. Love that we're getting The Final Reckoning in summer of 2025. So I'm very, very stoked for that film. My wife and I just recently rewatched Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning, and it hits a little bit different now that since that movie's release, AI has become so much more prevalent around the world, and that is a fundamental aspect of that film and the motives of the villain. In some ways, the villain is AI. So it feels like a well-timed hit. Very much looking forward to film number 8. So there you go. Final Reckoning. All right, Creature Commandos dropped a trailer. And oh my gosh, if I thought that I had seen everybody that could be killed get killed in brutal fashion in The Penguin, well, hold on to your butts because here's 2 minutes of just savagery.
I'm so excited. This looks so good. It honestly irritates me because it's like, oh, Creature Commandos
shouldn't be good.
No, Creature Commandos is your first DCU official, and not counting Peacemaker, but to just have.
Oh, come on now. I mean, you've got these well-known characters like G.I. Robot, Cersei, Frankenstein, Dr. Phosphorus. How dare you disparage them, sir? Oh wait, I'm sorry.
I
had them confused for someone else.
Just let them go on a kill spree. Kill as many people as you want. Wow. See, here's the deal. This is animated, so this shouldn't freak you out at all.
Oh, fair. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to be...
Hey, cartoons can be scary.
They can be scary. It's not going to be like live-action Punisher You know what I mean? Because that's what would be. Or, I mean, we had it with the newer Suicide Squad movie where they're just offing people left and right.
Woof.
It's insane how detailed the animation for these kills are. It is like a glorified fighting video game is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm pumped. Didn't think I would say that about Creature Commandos by any means, but here we are.
Here's James Gunn doing it again, taking a hodgepodge of weirdness and concocting a palatable meal.
It literally makes me wonder what he's going to do with Superman.
I don't know.
I trust him, but at the same time, you're like
the most like vanilla flavored character possible.
Right.
Are you sure this is? You want to do that? Really?
I'm also worried like Superman's not going to be the main focus. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to bring up these oddball,
Mr. Terrific,
Parasite number
Mysterio.
3.
Mysterio. Sorry, not Mysterio. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I crossed my MC and Marvel and DC lines there. Good grief.
Yeah, no, anyway, I know what you're talking about, though.
Yep. Just wild stuff.
Definitely out there, man.
Yep. Worth watching the trailer. Just gird thy loins. Prepare yourself. Okay, Fantastic Four First Steps dropped an official synopsis, and it essentially brought to light what we assumed was true. So let me read through it real quick. And we're just going to really hit the first couple of lines of the synopsis. All right. Set against the vibrant backdrop of a 1960s-inspired, retro-futuristic world, the Fantastic Four First Steps introduces Marvel's first family. Lists the characters as they face their most daunting challenge yet. Okay, so that's the big takeaway. We thought this was true. Yes, it is. 1960s-inspired, retro-futuristic.
The Jetsons.
Yep. In other words, this ain't our Earth. Great. We knew it. Now it's just official. Listen, I'm still very excited for this movie. I think we're days away from getting a trailer released on the World Wide Webs. From what I understand, they've released trailer footage at the D23 in Brazil. So it's just a matter of time before we get to see a piece of this. We'll see if they can pull this off. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it works for him.
It really is.
Yep.
That's all I got to say on that.
All right, it's time for another classic JP and the Beans Top 5. Staying on the Penguin theme, today's Top 5 are our Top 5 most jarring deaths in the Penguin. 8 episodes, but a lot of bodies. The bodies were stacked.
Oh, so we are going jarring.
Tell you what, I'm using the word jarring. You can use whatever adjective you would like. So many of these deaths occurred, perhaps if you could say surprisingly, you would. Someone else might say, hey, I saw it coming. That's fine. But the manner in which it happened was still... So jarring is my word. What word would you use if not jarring?
I like jarring. So
okay.
Just let me just edit my list a little bit around because I still have my top 5, but you know it's going to be a little bit of a different order, if you will.
Yep.
Because there's just one for sure that needs to go up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am ready.
Great. I'm going to go first here. Number 5, Alberto Falcone. It was fantastic watching him get smoked because after about 5 seconds of him talking, you're ready for him to be done. And I mean done permanently. But the fact that it happened so abruptly in the middle of a conversation between he and Oz, Alberto hasn't drawn a weapon, probably, maybe isn't even armed. I don't know. And Oz just essentially goes, well, I'm tired of hearing this guy talk, and lights him up. That's my number 5, Alberto Falcone.
My number 5, this one wasn't as jarring. It made me laugh hysterically, though. I have Sal Maroney's death because the fact that those two are brawling,
yep,
like brawling, and he just has a heart attack
Just
halfway
croaks.
through,
Just
and
croaks.
starts to die. And the way the penguin just is like, I got you, and then just to make sure that people didn't question it, lights him up, like puts like 18 bullets in his body,
Many rounds.
just to prove a point, and then just kind of just leaves him in there.
Unbelievable.
Sal Maroni is my number 5.
Yep, very good. Very good. You're number 4, sir.
My number 4, more for impact than anything. I have Vic's death at number 4, because it's not as like brutal as some of the other deaths I have on this list.
Okay.
And I did see it coming, but just the impact it has on the show as a whole, and he's my number 4.
Okay, that's great. My number 4, this one made me laugh, was Detective Wise. Okay, episode 8. So this is the this is the drop addicted detective.
I forgot
who's
about
just pure weasel. Like he has probably a combined like 60 seconds of screen time in the entire series. Sophia Falcone enlists his aid early on to try and do her bidding, if you will. And in the, I don't know, last 20, 30 minutes of episode 8, he's outside of where the penguin has been tortured and suddenly, unbeknownst to Detective Wise, makes his escape. And so he's putting the drop in, feeling the happy effects, and then boom, gets blown away from behind. Blood splatters all over the camera. Detective Wise owned by the penguin so abruptly. It was that one made me laugh. Oh my gosh.
It was brilliant.
It was absolutely incredible. My number 3, similar here, was Johnny Vitti. You knew Johnny was going down. Like it was time for him. It was time for him to go. But Sophia, instead of doing it behind closed doors or as the culmination of the torture chamber that she put him through, no. Lets the guy think he's actually going to make it. Lets him come back into high society, sit at the table with the rest of the crime family, and then just blows him away in front of everybody. And then proceeds to dump a whole bag of cash in the middle of his bleeding out body on the table. That was aggressive. So that was number 3. Again, you saw Johnny coming or going, really, but the manner in which it happened, jarring.
100%.
Number 3.
My number 3 is the Penguin's brothers. How awful. Like, part of me, and here's where my brain was, like, and I didn't really kick in until, like, his mom starts talking and you get to see that revelation.
Yep.
But I thought there was part of me where he's like, oh, he's going to start freaking out and panicking because he's like, oh, I thought my brothers would get out of that. That was part of me.
Knew exactly what he was doing.
It never happened. He just kept going on with his day. And then you never really get to see the aftermath until she's ready to go and get over it. And you find out later she's planning on killing him, which is
also
insane.
Mind-blowing.
Insane. I understand it. Insane. So to see that and just like find out later, oh, he had no remorse. He knew what he was doing completely and did not give a crap because he wanted his mom all to himself.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's my number 3. My number 2, right? My number 2.
You got it.
I have these are the most jarring ones to me. These top 2.
I love it. I'm excited.
Magpie is my second one.
Goodness gracious.
Because I did not. That's the one I didn't see coming. Because, like, I thought she was going to give up, and it kind of gives off that vibe of she's just...
Right. Sophia's just beaten down,
she's like,
defeated.
I'm going to die in here. So to see her be like that, and then all of a sudden just get fed up with the girl next to her and just go, bang, and then repeatedly...
Then multiple bangs followed.
And then she's like, is this what you wanted? Just insane. So that was don't get me wrong, Magpie was super annoying, but like
we weren't sorry to see her go. No. It was just, again, jarring.
It was crazy. So it was like the turning point for for
Sophia in a big way.
Sophia, yes,
No
absolutely.
question.
So that was my number 2.
Yeah. My number 2 is the brothers. I can't do kids dying in movies or shows. I can't do it. And good Lord, when they flashed back, as soon as the start of the flashback to Oz and his brothers started, I went, oh crap, he's going to kill his brothers. They're going to show us how they died, and it's not going to be a happy accident. It's going to be Oz freaking killed them. And the premeditated nature of their murder, the jarring part. So in other words, the jarring part wasn't so much the fact that he killed them. It was the fact that, as you said, it didn't bother him. It was just you know what? Done with these guys. Dead. Not a, hey, Mom, I want to talk about my relationship with my brothers, or let's even like wrestle or go to fisticuffs. We jumped to murder.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And part of what was so disturbing is his brothers weren't turds.
No. They're good.
They were good dudes.
Yeah.
They were good dudes. But here's Oz the turd, and he just, that was tough.
I'm very glad they did it off screen.
Yep.
And kind of just showed with
Correct.
like context clues, like this is what happened.
Yep.
But
I was not okay in the last episode where his mom is starting to hallucinate and sees the two of them tough. Like just soaking in water. It's like,
And in her mind, she's like, I did it. I got him.
Mm-hmm.
I got him for you too. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, nope, no, you didn't.
You didn't though. But you didn't. Yep. That's my number 2. For me, my number 1 was Vic. And you're absolutely right. Could you see it coming? Yes. But it was just the last hope of any kind of redemptive quality being pulled out of this show for any of these characters. It's like, nope, Oz just going to frickin' kill Vic. You dog. It fit the character. It was the correct path in that regard, but it was just so horrible. Oz doesn't succeed at all.
No.
At all. He does not live, much less succeed, without Vic putting his own life on the line, sacrificing his own whatever innocence he had left, whatever goodness he was trying to hold on to. He's following Oz's lead, and then Oz says, "Thank you very much for your service. Bye-bye." That was tough. That's my number 1 is Vic.
Yeah, my number 1 is the Arkham with the fork.
Oh. Yep.
Because they were trying to just set Sophia up on the outside to look like this killer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is before she kills Magpie.
Right.
And just not only to see that inmate kick her ass the first time around, just to watch her come out that second time around.
Yep.
And they were like trying to get her to kill her.
Yep.
And she wouldn't.
Yep.
And so she got a hold of a fork and just
stabbed
herself like 27 times.
Jeepers kittens.
That was crazy.
Yep.
That was almost too much.
Yeah. That was tough. That was quite tough.
What a way to go. What a terrible, terrible, terrible way to go.
And just in case, by the way, in case you weren't sure if there were candidates to choose from, we did not mention the Maronis getting lit on fire.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Right? Nadia and Taj getting lit up.
That probably should be in the top 5.
That was, sure. As far as spectacular kills, that's on there. We did not mention all of the heads of the crime families getting offed by their subordinates.
Yeah. And for the power move.
Right. I mean, the opportunities. We didn't mention the entire Falcone family getting gassed to death.
Yep.
By Sophie. I mean,
minus the daughter.
Minus little Gia. There were legion worth of options here. It was, the body count is
it's nuts.
So high. Holy smokes. So there's a more grim flavored top 5 for you. So you're welcome. I'm Ron Burgundy. Beans, anything else for the good people?
No, that's it. That's time to wrap.
It is.
Yeah. So
we've done it.
On that note, God bless.
Peace.